Authorization takes place after authentication. Authentication is when you're proving you are who you say you are, and authorization then says, well, now that I know who you are, then what access do you have? Are you allowed to access this printer or this folder or this file? What can you do with them once you do access them? Can you write to them? Can you modify them? Can you only read them? And so on. So this normally is done by the same system that does the authentication. So for example, Active Directory, the Windows Server Active Directory may tell you and your computer what you can and cannot do. Firewalls can block or allow certain kinds of traffic. Access control lists are one of the main ways that we deal with authorization. You're looking here at an access control list for what looks like is a folder called Users Test. Well, let's actually do one of these. I have a folder here called ACL. I've just created it. There's nothing in it. And I'm going to go down to the properties for this folder and go over to security. And here is where I set up that access control list. So for example, I'm not set up to have access to this folder other than the fact that I'm a user and I'm also a member of the administrators group. So whenever you see these two people on this icon, those are groups. But let me see if I can add an individual. Now I'll add myself as an individual here. So let's just click Advanced and then Find Now. And I will go down to Roger. And now I can give myself, say, full control over this. All right, now Roger has full control. Authenticated users don't have full control, but they do have modify control. Okay, so this is an access control. That was not the actual list. I guess I should go back and show you the actual access control list that's generated. I'm going to go back to security again. This time I'm going to click on Advanced. And what's going to pop up here will be the access control list. So allow or deny the principal, or in other words, the person or the system that's allowed to have access to it, and then what type of access they have. In this case, some of these are inherited from the parent directory. The one that I just created is not inherited. It is the parent directory for this particular type of access. And then does it apply to subfolders, which in this case it does. Now I can disable that inheritance down here, but that's a little bit beyond what we need to study right now. All right, so that is an access control list in Windows. You're looking here at an access control list on a Cisco router, and down here you're looking at an access control list on a firewall. So get used to reading these, because in some kinds of tests, particularly security certificate tests, you'll see these kinds of printouts and you'll need to be able to interpret them. So content filters are also a way that we can do access control. So if I have a content filter on my network, then you cannot, for example, go out and surf certain kinds of websites, say gambling sites. And then, of course, an acceptable use policy should also be created for both internal and guest users, so that you say what they are allowed to do and what they are not allowed to do, and that way you have some teeth in your policies besides just technical controls.